And I think that recognising that people know best who they themselves are and recognising can women have a penis? Yes, I've met women with penises, trans women, who have not yet.
You can sort of thread the needle of being kind to people without saying, I know lots of women with penises. There's a middle ground, perhaps.
Hey guys, Brad here with another Normal Gays video where we take on LGBT and sanity. I'm Brad Polumbo here with Clarkson Lawson.
And
special guest, Guy Benson of Fox News fame. Welcome to the channel, Guy.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me, guys. Do I qualify? I qualify as a normal gay, I guess?
I guess. I mean, we were just talking about the fact that we're not actually particularly normal. We're just normal relative to like the pronoun people. And that's
we're trying to recruit as many as possible.
But anyway, I wanted to get your take on this. Things could always be worse here, right? We could always be the UK. And so there's this
I would love to be, actually.
I know you have a thing for British men.
I do.
But there's this thing going on right now where they have a bunch of politicians who cannot answer the most basic question imaginable. Listen to this.
I don't think that Ed was unclear, and I think that Lib Dem policy is clear as well. The Liberal Democrats believe that trans women are women, trans men are men, and that non-binary identities are valid. I think the Liberal Democrats have been unequivocal in our support of that stance. We've been clear, we've repeated it, and Lib Dem members have consistently shown that that is the view of the party, and I think that Ed's comments reflect that.
Yeah, but trans women aren't women, are they? I mean, biologically, a trans woman is a biological male. So when you're asked a simple question, whether someone thinks they're a woman or they think they're a man or they have gender dysphoria, the reality has to trump whatever delusion or whatever feeling that person has. So when a politician is asked a straightforward question whether a woman can have a penis, a woman is a biological reality, not an identity, as it were. Surely the answer is no.
Well, I think that is where we get into the difference between someone's sex and their gender identity. And I think that we would both agree that everyone deserves respect, everyone deserves to be treated with decency. And I think that recognising that people know best who they themselves are and recognising and taking at face value who someone says that they are is important and is the decent way to interact with other people. I think if we want to get into can women have a penis, yes, I've met women with penises, trans women, who have not yet.
I think we can stop it there, but you get the idea. This is a whole saga. Multiple Liberal Democrat politicians in the UK have been asked this question, can a woman have a penis? And either refuse to answer or say yes.
I guess we need to get his take.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that should really be a trick question. And by the way, I'm like generally not a catty person at all, but I'm just going to say something. You appeared on television wearing that.
You didn't go for the hairline, which I was thinking.
No,
you're less catty than me.
Stop it. You can't control that, but like that's an interesting ensemble to be on television. I liked what he said about, respecting everyone and treating everyone with dignity. I think that's important and true. He seemed to kind of make a distinction between sex and gender identity. So I'd have loved to have gotten a follow-up question. I love the no-nonsense woman who's just like, it's not possible, right? Like, but they're not women, right? But a follow-up would have been like, okay, you just mentioned sex. Are there only two biological sexes? And see what he did with that. Because so much of this is like this moving nebulous target. I think it's really hard for people to catch up with and keep up with all the rules. And I think generally if you're in the political business, if you're trying to win votes, a lot of votes at least, I think you can sort of thread the needle of being kind to people without saying, I know lots of women with penises. There's a middle ground, perhaps, to strike.
That's the thing. If you were to just acknowledge biological reality, but then say, listen, we have no issue with trans people living their lives how they want to live. We'll accommodate them within reason. I think the problem with a lot of the politicians, whether it's on the progressive side in the UK or here, is they've become biology deniers.
Yeah.
And that just pisses people off.
Well, yeah, I mean, everything's relative to them. It's all about feelings. So there really is no structure to their arguments, which is why he said, if somebody feels like a woman, then they are a woman.
Yeah, he said something to the effect of, oh, well, everyone is an expert in how they are or what they are.
I'm confused as hell on a day-to-day basis.
But that's also like not clearly true, because we've literally encountered people who claim that they're what?
We just did a video on what is it? Therians?
Spirit animals, like
Spirit, yeah.
it's just, I don't know, Guy, give us your take on this, but they're denying biology, which is the Democrats in the US literally support changing sex under federal law to mean self-ID. They don't make a distinction anymore between how someone wants to express themselves in their biology. Biology denial is just never going to resonate with most normal people.
Yeah, and I think it's probably, you can broaden it out to borrow one of their favorite terms, which is science denial. Right? These are the people who claim the mantle of science, except when they don't, which is actually a lot of the time, right? There's certain quote unquote science that they stick to, that they believe in dogmatically. Some of it's real, some of it's not. But then there's all this absolutely anti-science nonsense, whether on COVID or this. And it's just like this emotionalist feel-goodery about whatever they want or whatever control they want to assert and impose on others. That's, I guess you could call it political science. I've called it that before, like politicized science, basically. And I think turning that around, because they're so often up on a high horse about science, except when they're not. And I think when they are in very embarrassing, obvious ways that normal people can instantly recognize, betraying their fake reverence for science, I think it's worth calling that out.
Yeah, and I think it resonates with people because it's interesting. I heard somebody describe it as a sanity test. It ultimately, most people will not be personally.
I did.
Oh, okay. Maybe that was
That
you.
was me.
Someone said it.
Yeah,
Yeah, someone, just the guy over here.
Co-host who's in the room with you.
Yeah, it's not that any of this, I mean, of all the issues we talk about or cover in politics, it's not like most people are affected by a trans athlete, right? But it's the visceral reaction to seeing, Leah Thomas compete. Yeah. And then politicians too scared of offending some crazy activist group to say, hey, that's ridiculous, that's unfair, that I think it has some sort of effect on people with like, wait a second, I can't trust that person's judgment. It's not that like, there's not very many trans athletes. It's not that it's affecting people's day-to-day lives. It's a sanity test.
Well, yeah, everybody's got a mother. Most people have a sister or some have a daughter. You can very easily see the women in your life, if you're a man, through this argument. And that person is like, I'm not going to trust what you have to say on the economy if you're sitting here on live television wearing a flannel top.
Saying I know lots of women.
I know lots of women with penises. Yeah,
but we get this all the time. Not just to pick on that one person, right? We get this like sort of mainstream lefty opinion in a lot of this country and a lot of Democratic politics, where I think fundamentally it's a fairness issue for people. It's just so obviously unfair in the realm of sports that only committed activists think otherwise. So it's the profound unfairness that's screamingly obvious, just in your face about it, and then the lying about it on top of it. That is a 1-2 punch that's going to start pissing off a lot more people beyond those instantly or directly impacted by the issue, right? Because I think as a society, we don't like unfairness and we don't like having our intelligence insulted. And this is both of those.
Well, yeah, I think we're already seeing a lot of Democrats turn on this issue and start to teeter-totter. Even Kamala Harris is now kind of giving like a very political answer to the question, Gavin Newsom and all of them. So I'm curious to see if by 2026 and 2028, if Democrats have just completely left this issue alone, specifically with women's sports.
It's a very Kamala Harris move, given her instincts, to workshop a better answer on this crazy question after she's lost the presidential election. You feel like that would be a good thing to be doing maybe while you were in office or before you came out publicly and did things like endorse, except she was under the pressure to endorse it. And she always caved to the activists on that side, which is why she's like, of course taxpayers are going to pay for illegal immigrant sex changes while they're breathing.
That's a real thing. Yeah, she said that.
Position on the record on camera. And then she never really denied it. And now I guess months and months later, she's like, maybe I should think about this again.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, Guy, I was actually on CNN with a Democratic strategist. And when I said that Democrats lined up
with one or how many?
Oh, well, multiple, but one particular one was arguing with me when I said that Democrats, the official Democratic Party, lined up in support of child sex changes. She's like, no, they didn't. They didn't run on that in their campaign. And I'm like, yeah, they stopped talking about it because it polled so terribly. But after going all in on it, they never repudiated it. But they do that a lot. They just like, you can't escape some baggage, right? When you're on camera saying crazy things, you just stop talking about it for a while is not going to make it go away.
Especially when Trump brought it up every 2 seconds because he knew that it was a political gold mine.
The they-them ad did kind of eat.
They said, I'm pretty sure the Trump campaign at one point said they were running and poll testing and focus grouping tons of ads, and a lot of them were quite effective. They said that was the single most effective ad against Kamala Harris, not because I think the whole country is like this seething cauldron of anti-trans anger, but I think it was such a shortcut for people to say, all right, she's nuts, right? She's way out there. She's not moderate at all. She is saying that we're going to spend money for prisoners and illegal immigrants to get sex change operations on our dime. It's just like this heuristic to say that's an extremist who can't be trusted, who's way out there. And then the, Trump's for you, she's for they, them, or whatever it was, like not subtle at all, but pretty effective, right? And digging big time at this overreach, which they all fell into the trap. They sprinted into the trap.
It probably won't happen because like our political media is just, it's not as blunt, and these people will never do an interview with me. But I would really love to ask Pete Buttigieg, can a woman have a penis?
I think you answered it.
How did that person that we just watched in the GB News interview personally verify that all of those women he knows have penises? Like, how is was he able to confirm that? Because I feel like journalistically, it's a question that I have. I don't know.
But I got to be honest with you, Guy. Journalistically, I don't really want to see the evidence.
No, I don't need the answer. I don't need the answer. Bridget Macron style.
We know you will.
Out of curiosity. I don't know.
Morbid curiosity.
It's all morbid curiosity.
All right, guys. Well, let us know what you think. Are you big believers that a woman can have a penis, or that you do personally know lots of women with penises?
Have you expected them?
Let us know in the comments. Do hit the like button, subscribe, yada, yada, yada. Check out Guy's profiles. I'll link him in the description, and we'll be back with more content real soon.